Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve and Angela Collins coming to you from gorgeous San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, and purposeful coach and speaker and
in the world.
Fitness director in the world. Hope you guys are doing good today. This one's going to be a quick one. We had a dear friend and a client who spoke at a meeting yesterday and was asked a question by someone in the audience that said, because when he told him he was in coaching, she asked a great question that I'm going to address this morning. She said, okay, when you hired a coach, like how long should it take before we start seeing results? And somebody else answered, well, immediately in terms of mindset, because when your mind changes, everything changes. So I want to address this because I thought that was really actually a very brilliant question. And so Angela is the director of the health and fitness division of Voice of One Coaching. So Angela, if someone were to come to you with that question in the health and fitness division and say, hey Angela, so if I hire you guys as a coach, when can I expect to start seeing results? What's the conversation you would have from a health and fitness perspective?
From a health and fitness perspective, it would depend upon how much time and work you are willing to put into your particular program. So whether that is just getting back on track, whether you got off track, were in fitness before and needed to move forward, that would depend. That's one thing. What if you've never done any kind of coaching before? What if you are just starting from ground zero? There's going to be work either way. Whatever level of fitness that you would come to me with, it would start. It would depend on your amount of work, the amount of work that you're willing to put in your mindset, the amount of time you're willing to put into your workouts, the amount of time you're willing to put, especially into your nutrition. So that's would be my answer. Would be how much time. It would go back to you. How bad do you want it? What's your time frame? And of course, it's setting realistic in the health and fitness arena. It is setting healthy, realistic goals, not something like I want to look like whatever in 2 weeks.
Well, let's say this.
Crazy.
Let's say that two women in particular came to you. Let's say both of them were at 200 pounds and they wanted to be at 150. And they both, one of them said, I would like to lose this weight in 2 years. And one of them said, I would like to lose this weight in 6 months. Would they be on the same program?
Absolutely not. They would be on different programs, and also implementing little baby steps. They would each have different, similar and yet different baby steps and progressions.
Okay, but the level of intensity and the level of work would really determine. So it's never about the goal. Here's what I want you guys to hear. It's never about the goal. Nobody's goal ever scares me. When I had a client brand new to real estate that said, I want to be Rookie of the Year, can you get me there? My answer was very simple. I said, is this too big of a goal? I said, the goal is never big. It's never a question of the size of the goal. It's the question of the size of the person. I'm never worried about somebody's goal. What I'm looking for is if you have the grit and the strength and the discipline to do the daily activities required to get you to your goal. So it's never about your goal. When he came to me again this last year and says, we have a goal of hitting 100 million in production by this time, do you think we can do it? I said, absolutely, because you've already proven that you're coachable, you're willing to follow systems and models, and you're willing to do the hard work. So, and I know because you're willing to commit to the daily activities required to get to that goal, the goal doesn't scare me. What scares me is people's maybe inflated belief that they have what it takes to do the daily boring activities to reach that goal. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So what you would say is if somebody had a health and fitness goal and they say, well, if I hire you as the coach, when can I start expecting to see results? You'd have to say, well, baby doll, it depends on how hard you're willing to work and how committed you are to the program we provide. Correct?
The boring monotony of doing sometimes the same thing. I mean, I always go back to water. Are you drinking enough water? I mean, it sounds so ridiculous and basic, and yet that's an important part of your fitness.
So a huge part of someone's results are directly related to their commitment.
Absolutely. Their
Agreed?
Commitment, their desire.
And if she was a crappy coach, could she send them in a bad direction? Yeah, she could.
Yeah.
But, after having 6 kids and then, last year winning first place in the women's Masters 40-plus division for the, muscle girl thingies, she also has what we call the street cred. She's got the street cred. So you don't have to have won or done anything or even be in great shape to be a great coach. Yet when you have, you have the ability to have an empathetic connection, different than someone who is just regurgitating information and giving you education. You have somebody who has an empathetic ability to connect to, I remember that night I came home and my son came home from Taco Cabana and had those chips and nachos on the table when I was exhausted and worn out and frustrated. I know what that was like and how to stay committed to that. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay, so second part, thank you for that, Miss Angela. That was my birthday gift from Angela to me. I'm big 5-0 today, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. I'm like a fine wine. The bottle may be a little old and the label may be a little cracked and it may be a little dusty, but what's inside is real good, y'all. Real good and just getting better. So she doesn't like to do videos, and she chose to do a video with me today because, by the way, I love her and she's magnificent. She needs to speak twice as much as I do. Now, if you hire a coach for what we do, executive performance coaching, what does that even mean, executive performance coaching? That means that executives or professionals that operate at a world-class level all have some very similar characteristics and traits that are all based on a foundational mindset and belief system, enabling them to not have to worry about a significant amount of discipline for their activities, because once they get the information that turns to revelation, they are now able to execute those actions and activities without feeling like it's a monotonous grudgery, because they are now committed to the outcome. Simply meaning, for instance, if someone is doing something that's very hard and the conversation in their head that is very hard and it's very challenging, when that conversation changes to this, Zig Ziglar's basic foundational quote, they can have anything in life they want if they'll just help enough other people get what they want. Now their mindset shifts to serving other people. Now their mind is committed to helping other people. Now they're not showing up in the marketplace as a booty call salesperson looking what they can get from people. They're showing up in the marketplace looking what they can give to people. And when they are giving to people, their motivation changes, and that makes the actions and activities much easier. So executive performance is, how do we operate at a high level of efficiency? Angela and I have been married 24 years. We have 7 children. We have 2 grandchildren. We're both pretty close to the best shape in our lives for people that are our age. We have a lot of things that operate. I wrote a book. Angela's writing a book. We are working together. We are creating a world-class international coaching program along with the Ziglars, Zig Ziglar and his family, who have endorsed this endeavor. There's a lot of things going on at one time, and we still manage to do date night, and we still manage to spend one-on-one time with the kids, and we still manage to do sweet nothings for each other, and we are still highly committed. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, can you have it all? We believe and are living that yes, you can have it all. Does that mean that all is phenomenal? No, it's not. I mean, we have a great marriage. I tell people there's 2 types of married people. There's married people who are working their butts off to have a great marriage, and there's people who are lying their butts off about having a great marriage. Would you agree with that? Or they're just heavily medicated, or they just have ridiculously low standards, right? So at the end of the day, we have a great marriage, yet she is a fiery Latina weightlifter, which means I'm always 3 fights away from being stabbed in the chest. So I have to sleep kind of with one eye open a little bit like that, right, babe? Yeah. So here's the thing. Executive performance is your ability to become highly effective and highly efficient, extremely purposeful in the actions, activities required for you to achieve the goals you've set for yourself, yet without the drudgery, because your mind and your thinking will have changed, which now makes what you are doing a pleasure and a joy versus drudgery and a chore. So when people say, if I hire you, when can I expect to get results? I would say, well, sugar pie, honey plum, that depends on how hard your country butt is willing to work. How hard you're willing to put the work in. Are you committed to the daily activities required, or do you just have a pipe dream, Pollyanna, unicorn, rainbows, and glitter idea of what you want? Well, honey, everybody wants to be in shape. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be completely healthy. Everybody wants all that. The difference between the men and the boys and the ladies and the girls is those who are willing to commit to the daily activities required to achieve those goals. And if you are doing that out of drudgery with your old stinking thinking, you need a checkup from the neck up, and you need a dipstick stuck in your ear to determine if your thinking is going to be able to carry you there. Because if your thinking is out of whack, you're going to be out of whack. So executive performance coaching, and the answer to the question of how long will it be before I can see results, is directly related to your ability to be coachable, to be willing to think differently, and to be submitted to the system and the process. We push the standards, we don't push the people. We push the standards, we don't push the people. You are the Godfather. We are the consigliere sitting on the couch. We're Robert Duvall going, you might want to consider this. We're not the Godfather. It's your life. It's your goal. It's your stuff. So when can you expect to see results? I can tell you right now. Immediately, as Lori said yesterday in the video, immediately mindset thinking. But what you're going to determine is whether you have Pollyanna pipe dreams and you just want what everybody else in the world wants, or if you're the type of person who's willing to put in the hard work to do the daily activities required on a long runway, gradually, then suddenly, be willing to be really bad at something for a very long time before you get good at it. As Zig Ziglar says, anything worth doing. Is your marriage worth doing? Is your parenting worth doing? Is your health worth doing? Is your money worth doing? Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can learn to do it well. And 98% of people are lost on that long runway because they don't have the grit to move forward in the daily activities required to achieve those goals. When can you expect to get results? It all depends on how hard you're willing to work and when and if you choose to change your thinking. Any last thoughts, Miss Angela?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Anything at all?
Have an awesome, blessed day.
Okay, you guys, have a great day. Love y'all.